So I'm like, so guys, I am in a quandary as always. I go about the place minding my own business, have this grand, oh, look at how my hair's grown. Yeah, have this grand philosophy of being this dedicated, wonderful teacher, and I'm working really studiously. All right, now where I am working these days, I'm not kidding to you, the students are predominantly black. I'm not kidding, negroid black. As a matter of fact, some of the kids, when I typed their names on the system, when I was teaching the topic of self, and I was typing up their names in the system, literally translated, their names mean black. So these kids are not just literally black, but their names have the literal meaning of black. So I remember once, as I now started to teach them, I couldn't remember the student name. Couldn't remember the kid's name. So I remember saying, "What's your name again?" I'm black. She and all her friends just started laughing. Now she didn't take it as an offense, right? Because of how I said it and whatever. But some other people might have taken an offense, right? So with that being said, I realized that the kids I work with are black. Right? They're black students. Now, when you look at the East-West corridor and the amount of crime taking place there, it's literally black people in that whole East-West corridor. Literally, predominantly more black people as the workforce and everything. So I'm not kidding to you to tell you, I've already established with these people and whatnot. So this is a serious thing I'm sharing with the public so you could be aware. You beat up on the wrong teachers. The teachers who are literal criminals, the teachers who have no care in their hearts for you and don't really care about none of you. Those are the teachers you put into position when you destroy the teachers who actually care. Hear me again. The teachers who do not care about your children, the teachers who are criminal elements, the teacher who always never follows through with a duty of care, are the ones you put in position when you destroy the lives of the teachers that actually care for your children. And this is a true story. So I've recently moved from, I say recently, 2 years ago, from my first school outside of returning from training college to a school in the East-West corridor. All right? So everybody was kind of skeptical. Girl, quite up there you go, and blah, 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 blah. I said, I know it sounds crazy, but what I will do, it's like if God lead me there, you know? So I went to the school and I see the place, the children picking up chair, fighting. This is the first week of school, first week. And the children rowdy, they were very, it was crazy. So having to get up 4 o'clock every morning and make my way traveling to work, I was always hungry. And I realized that when I ate the food, I became very dizzy. I made mention, that I'm not feeling well several times. And when I now started to work, I took a couple of days off on sick leave because I was not feeling well. I would feel woozy-ish and I would sleep through in the taxi. I would kind of be dizzy. When I came home, I would be yawning, so tired because I would eat breakfast, lunch in the school and then come home, all right? I would even drink water, everything. I would eat from the cafeteria. So I remember making it known to certain officials that I think something is wrong with the ingredients. Whether the people in the cafeteria knew or not, I don't know. But something was wrong because every time I ate the food, I had that effect. But when I did not, I was normal. So I started observing the kids. When lunchtime reached, they would be kind of fighting for the food, whatever. But then at a particular time, they will kind of go buzzing around for the food kind of way, and that's not how these children usually behave. This is secondary school children who just behave hoity-toity when it comes to food and thing, social, want to be elite. Right? I often tease them and say, yes, want to be elite, passive and sweet and whatnot, because they're teenagers. Boys are wrong, girls are wrong. So you don't be violent, whatever, you just be chill, show your swag. And I found it weird that these kids were buzzing around like, you want food kind of thing. So it wasn't just there, but I went to a couple of places and I ate, and the same effect with the same brand of whatever. So I called and I asked some officials if they could look into it, because I presume this was nationwide or perhaps targeted homes and places. If they could please check it out. I think something is wrong. It could be a parasite. It could be a bacteria, a fungi. It could literally be some sort of drug, right? Some new process that they're using that is not agreeable with the human body. There are layers as to reasons why. So I did my part and I reported it to officials that this food, whenever you eat it, these are the symptoms. Violence and all of that. Now, upon my research, because I'm that nosy kind of teacher, especially if something affects me, I go all out to know more, right? So I recently had to do some issues in education and whatnot for a little short course I'm doing, a diploma in education I'm doing. So I realized when the rain fell, some of these stores that sells goods, the floor was getting wet from floodwaters. And none of you can tell me I'm a liar, because sometimes water come up 5 feet, sometimes 20 feet high in this country, right in this country. I know because I grew up by a river and our house was 20 feet high. And there were times water from the floods underneath the house passing would seep through the floorboards 20 feet high. God alone was with us and protected us from that water washing us away. So some of these people have been in establishments where the water was seeping through to these products and wetting it. So imagine you eating flood waters in another form, a pasteurized form, if you will. All right? That's just one reason. I'm not kidding. So the kids could have been getting some sort of disease with them, bacteria, growth, or whatever that was causing them to be agitated, not thinking right, because they're naturally uncomfortable but don't seem to know why. So I did some other research and I found out as well that there is a bacteria right now that literally a girl from UB gonna invent, which she wrote herself, and it got leaked. I know because I planted a plant and I saw the actual effects of it. I picked it, I've been observing it for months now. And the plant has an actual fungus that is part of the plant's genome. So in other words, when you plant a seed in the ground, the seed looks healthy. In your eyes, it is. But when you plant it and the plant grows up and it produces its fruit or vegetables, embedded within the structure, the DNA of that plant, is the fungus. And this fungus gives you a type of meningitis and syphilis to the brain. It's like a combination of it. So I thought it was like a kind of joke, right? Until I went on the internet and observed some more and realized that these plants have the same DNA structure as seen on the research right now in Latin America. It's a big thing and they're researching it right through. Now in Latin America the other day, there was a bushfire during the COVID period or so, just after the COVID period or somewhere there. One big bushfire took place in Latin America. Big, right? A lot of houses, a lot of things happen. And I remember I was like watching Google Maps and saying, Latin America burning down. Look at how much red cinders showing fire. So even after the fire passed through, because the plant genome is actually filled with fungus, it's like somebody having HIV/AIDS from a baby. The mother has HIVs, the father has HIVs, and they conceive a child. The child is born. The child looks healthy. The child sounds healthy, but the child actually has that disease in them. They will grow up, they will play, they will eat, they will whatever, like a normal human being, but that disease is in them and it's transferable. It's the same thing with these vegetables. It's a type of fungus that affects the brain, and it looks good. I actually ate peas, and it was sweet. The bacteria has an actual sweet taste and feel to it, and it's not healthy because too much of that, it starts affecting the brain. And I know it sounds crazy, but I had like about 2 because I was kind of hungry and lack of money, so I ate 2 one time. And I know it sounds crazy, but I literally felt like a crawling effect, like while going through my bloodstream or something. I don't know, because this was before I found out the danger. So it wasn't as if I found out and was skeptical and, imagining this thing happening to me. I actually felt this sort of crawling thing, and I felt sleepy, and I was like, you know what, earlier, and distracted and vexy. So I realized while it was tasting very sweet and nice, it didn't have a positive effect on my temperaments and my concentration and whatnot. So I stopped eating it. I let my brother spray it down with some spray, and it dried up, but you can still see the fungus sort of stain to the skin of it. And not only that, but before my brother put spray on it, I had lit a fire to burn some rubbish. And I kind of wanted the fire to burn some of it out. The fire burnt it. And even though the fire burnt it, just like it burned those crops in Latin America during that wild bush fire, that plant didn't get any sort of effect on it. The plant was burnt. The fruit was burnt. But it didn't wither away or anything. It remained sort of whole, and that fungus was still like visible on the skin. That white patch is like lota on the skin. It was like lota on the vegetable, sorry, because it was a vegetable. All right, it was like patches of lota, white little spots, which is the fungus. So right now in Latin America, they're doing a lot of studies. With respect to Trinidad, I have no idea if they actually know of this or what, right? Because when you start talking about these things, the first thing people jump up and say is, you mad, or she mad, or they're talking madness, right? Now that's just one aspect. The next is, I got to find out that a particular, in some years ago, there was an incident at Sealots where some people came into the country and had brought some shipments of things. This young black East Indian girl went and was having sex with her brother behind a crate. It was so crazy. So they caught them and asked them, what nastiness all you getting on here with? All your stinks that people get out of here. You know how long time people used to talk. And they get kind of stupid, and she brought a dhoti, and the brother put on sari. So I remember people saying, what the hell they doing? Boy wearing girl clothes now, girl wearing boy clothes now. And she had this bowl in her hand, and they asked her, what you doing here? Whatever, because one person was saying she nasty. And when he went to call the police, another person didn't see it happen, but asking them, what are you doing here? And she, being, treated nice as a woman, so said she came to give her uncle some food, and in the food had curry and rice. So she took it to the uncle, and she said she brought this for him and whatever, for his journey, whatever, and she gave it to him. This was Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj that she gave this to. He takes it and he gave it to Mountbatten. The Mountbatten found it weird that this girl brought food for this man, and he just take it without even opening it or anything and just hand him it. He took it and he said, all right, and he rested down. And he said, they bring food for the crew members. Anybody who want food, let them take. So one of the boys, who was part Negro, right, he was a mix of mulatto, he thought it is customary in our country when you are a visitor and people put food, that it is for everyone. I mean, up to now, every one of you on my live will tell you, yes, when we have functions in school, or sometimes when we go and deliver things, people do have samples or they do have refreshments, right? So the poor boy, and being mulatto, that's how Creoles do things, right? They just have a little snack or something and offer, right? He picked it up and he ate some from it, and the fork burst what was about 3 pounds of cocaine at the bottom of the container. The girl who was watching what was happening was asked, did you see what happened? And she big mouth and said, this girl was with that man behind the crate. They said they was doing big people thing, but I didn't see. And then she put on he clothes, and he said he dirty, and he put on she saree. And that man went so, and when he went so, this man come to talk to she, and she give he some food, and he give this man some food, and this man say, this is for the crew, and everybody in the crew could eat it. So this boy went and take some, and when he went and take some, he say how he bring that food, but it's not he, it's the girl, the Indian girl. So the girl didn't know she just talking, because when the man came back and told the police that she was having sex with the brother recklessly on the port, the police spoke to the other man when he left. Remember, the first man catch them, the second man didn't. And the police spoke to the second man who was there, and he said, I didn't see that. He said, I didn't see the girl doing that. She just bring some food for she uncle. And when the boy burst the food, and it had 3 pounds of cocaine at the bottom, and she did it so wisely, she put the cocaine in the container at the bottom in a bag, put the curry, and then put the rice, and put the curry on top. Real smart. And like I said, Ramesh Lawrence married niece or somebody like that, because she said she bring it for she uncle, so it had to be she. So me, I take nothing on. I say, So the person started questioning all who and whatever. I was told, I didn't see or nothing, but I was told the young man who ate the food, when he punctured it, he stopped. Because he found it strange that they had a bag of something at the bottom, and he rested down. They arrested him and said that was his food and he was trafficking. You see how easy? And somebody said no, somebody testified he could go free, and when they let him go free, she started to cry rape and said he interfered with she. And somebody shot him right in Port of Spain. This was probably 21 years ago or so. To date, that young girl who set up that man to die and set up that family like that is a head of department in a particular secondary school in Trinidad and Tobago, on the East-West Corridor, where all your Negro children does be. So just as how she framed that little half Negro boy and he got shot and killed, what has she been doing in the capacity of a head of department on the East-West Corridor to your children? My heart goes out, because the person who testified had a degree. She was able to identify the persons, and step by step she was able to say what was going on, because she was watching. She was asked to sit and wait on someone, and she was able to see all of that taking place around her. One person took a statement, while everybody else stated that they didn't see that. On the news, I could see all your children getting gunned down. I could see all your children getting raped. I could see all your missing children, decomposed body being found. I could see all your children getting no job until half of the body done with some man and they may get a job. I could see all your children getting grant because they're on some sort of public assistance. What you all don't see is, as I said before, the people that were genuine and honest in protecting your children, you put down, and you allowed such criminals to be on top of them. So with that being said, Trinidad and Tobago, I do wish you well. The police has been informed. They always were informed. And it is their job to do their job. But again, in the same way this woman is now a head of department at a secondary school, what have they been doing to the police force of Trinidad and Tobago? Have they been putting criminals in high positions there as well? Because since I have made numerous reports to certain police stations, I was told several times someone will come and nobody came. Once a police officer was passing and I stopped him thinking he came, and he said, I was just passing through the area. He said, but you know, because he knows his relative is my friend. So he stopped, right? Because I know him. I said no reports in the station or anything like that to come because I made a report. No. So what do you want me to do, Trinidad and Tobago? This woman is a head of department over your children. Not to mention there are videos of her exposing herself to the children and asking for sex and whatnot from some of them. Alright? I couldn't even watch it because I saw this video and I was like, wait, I know this woman face from somewhere. This thing viral over the internet. All over the internet. She might ask Surich Maraj, what name, to try to find it, to delete it, but nothing could be deleted from the internet. And I've learned that from high technicians. Right? Surindra Maraj. That's the IT guy they all depend on to delete things. But you can't delete it from the internet. Alright? It's just not deletable. That's a myth. You can delete things, but it's something that could be resurfaced. I've tried it and somebody showed me already. They said, look at this. Delete any amount of things you want, whatever. So I did it. And they just were able to pull it back up. So I thought it was a joke. They said we can do this in any system, anywhere in the world. I was like, any planet, like, I mean, like, any, top to bottom, left to right. They said any system in the world, we could bring back up any deleted item. So, you see all those old cases, 20, 30, up to 50 even years ago. If the police wants to really solve crime in this country, they need to go back to all of those old cases. Before Trinidad and Tobago had a good forensic team with forensic testing and all of that. And were able to be critical thinkers. Right? Because back in the day, they never taught you to be critical thinkers. They taught you to be rote. The teacher taught you something and you learn it by heart. But they never taught you to question authority or to question why are they putting this person here? What are they coming to offer? You know, what was their dislike, whatever. Now, I've heard instances where this woman was holding some of the students in school as hostage. All right? And the demography of the school is shifting to people from south, deep south. And I don't believe in coincidences. Why are they sending people from quite down Penal, for example, all the way to the east-west corridor for work? If not building them a protection base, because she will be outnumbered if you don't do that. You understand? So they're sending a sort of moral protection for her. And not only that, but there are specific students at that school whose parents are humble people but famous. Mark Zuckerberg, for one instance, has a relative coming to that same school. Not just Mark Zuckerberg, but other very, very rich people. Very rich people, very famous people have children, grandchildren coming to the school. And they are not being treated well. They are not teaching the kids. If they do teach them, there are many disruptions and everything. And the children are literally being told that they're not good enough. That they hadn't, that they this, they that, whatever. I've only been working down on that end of the country for 2 years. And in that space of time, I could identify that the food wasn't good because the food produce naturally was coming with a bacteria, a fungus to be exact. I've taken pictures of some of these food, and you can tell because even after they cook it, it's wetty kind of way. When you break the inside is wet, which tells you it's a fungus. All right? Funguses are usually very wet or very, very dry and flaky. So I don't know what again to say. People are aware of these things. And my concern is for parents is to understand that crimes like what this woman have committed don't go unnoticed. 3 pounds of cocaine 21 years ago was a lot of money. Hear me well. That's a lot of money. And the mere fact that they made this woman a teacher and put her as a head of a department means to say that they put her in charge to use some of these children. In one instance, a girl went missing for about 3 days. They found her after. And she kept saying that, Miss, they want to kidnap me. Miss, they want to kidnap me and whatnot. I did tell the principal some of these things. And it happened. It actually happened. Now, I made a joke with the child and I teased her and I told her, if they kidnap your girl, they're going to let you go. Anybody kidnap all your children, all your hardens at a children, they're going to let all you go because they will can't keep up with all you. They're going to let all you go one time. Bless the Lord, I put my mouth on that child that way because I told them that, you know, she said, Miss, you ain't saying nobody got kidnapped me. I said, girl, it does sometimes happen because I myself was kidnapped as a teenager, right? But I was set free. And nothing happened to me. At least that's what I know. I don't know if something happened and they took it off my memory. I don't know. But I've been through some things. And that's why I share it because it's to let the students know that in spite of what they do to you, you are Ebony. You are Melanie. You are Black. You understand? Right? You are Negro. I could say the word black in all kind of different way. Negroid, anything. Black people are resilient people. We survived the enslavement. We survived slavery. Traveling from Africa to Trinidad. Heavy plantation, heavy work. We're not perfect people, but we survived hardship. Don't let these people and their clan come together to bring down who you are. And the sad part about it is the East-West corridor in the country is known to have the most amount of crime. So I deduce that these people have been using such people who owe them money for such cocaine, have put them into places because the ignorant mass always put down who are genuine to put up who are not. And being here, they push down all who care. And all who care and their people who are working, coming up, these people are using them to pay their cocaine debts and then have them disseminated, annihilated, destroyed. So that's what they're planning to do to Mr. Mark Zuckerberg's relative and other famous people's relatives. They just have them there, right? Right now, the University of the Southern Caribbean actually made contact to come to the school and all of that. And I found it strange. Since when? USC never does things like that. The only reason some of these people are doing things like that is to be recognized, you know, as if they are helping or doing something. All of that is just a ploy to be seen. And they're being seen by the wrong people because Mark Zuckerberg is no longer a single man. He's married to Priscilla Chan Zuckerberg, whom was with someone called George Castillo at the age of 3 years old. And that man was the person who put cocaine on Dolce's compound and lied and said Dolce was a cocaine drug lord when Dolce was a marijuana smoker. In those days, smoking marijuana was illegal. And they made it look to the public that Dolce was this big drug lord. I'm not kidding. In the middle of a meeting Dolce was having, somebody just walked in, threw a bag on the table, snapped a picture and picked up the bag and left. Picture speaks 1,000 words. And they used that picture to make the public believe Dolce was a very evil man. He was a drug lord. Watch this El Chapo deal going down. That time Dolce was in a legitimate meeting but had a smoke. And they just snapped the picture and, because he put up his foot on the table. When he put up his foot on the table, he said, "Do you know what real power is?" And that's what he was asking the person. And they just dropped the bag and snapped the picture. When he put down his foot and looked, they just picked up the bag and left. It happened so quickly and unexpected. And people use all those types of picture to make people think that Dolce was the criminal. Dolce got 200 million TT dollars to build that compound for a royal family member. He got the money up front. And that didn't settle well with certain people who wanted to use him for a political pivot into the field of politics. Hear me well. So, this you can consider it an SOS. The principal has been informed, other people have been informed, because the child was petrified and the particular teacher kept turning around and smiling at her. And they said, "Miss, they don't like we. Miss, they don't like we." All of the children who are pure virgins, she's attacking because her own brother had sex with her and destroyed her purity from young. So she is a demented person who is attacking the children. I'm not joking about that. So she would probably tell people, or perhaps give some sort of signal, or somebody who sees her movements to please her, attacking what she dislikes. And people who have been abused like that, when I was growing up, I was taught, don't ever put them into high positions, because under pressure they break and most of them come out psychotic. I've been molested as a child growing up, but my purity was still intact. And because of that, I had a love life. It was hard because I was going to university and things were tough, but I was still respected to some degree. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas some of these girls had sex with their brothers, cousins, and deep sex, deep penetration sex. And they are in school with young girls, teaching them to be pure, teaching them to be, to use sanitary napkins and whatever. And they have a problem if you teach a co-ed class how to use a sanitary napkin, when boys will have daughters one day, and their daughters will need to have that father-daughter relationship, where they need to know how these things are used and to know how the cost of it and put it in their budgets and whatnot, because a lot of men fall short on feminine hygiene. And when you teach the kids these things, this particular teacher has an issue with it because she never had blood. So it creates a sort of resentment to hear it. And as a teacher, saying the words hymen, sex, incest, rape, you have to do it. You have to be strong and you have to do it. All right? And as someone with that power over you as a teacher, interfering your method of teaching and interfering your way of teaching the kids reality in a sensible, decent way in the classroom, which is part of the curriculum, they let their personal issues affect their thinking, and they bring into the school their dementia. So upon further investigating, I found out there was a murder at the school, at the home ec department. While walking, I saw something like a skull on the school compound, and I got really frightened about it. And when I ran back to double check to make sure, somebody saw me standing in the area, and how frightened I got and how I ran to the office. And by the time I got back, somebody had dug it up. I wasn't crazy. There was something there. So I told the teacher, "I'm not crazy, but that wasn't dug up before, right?" And the particular teacher said, "No, they probably do that this morning." So I said, "Oh, okay." And I left it like that, because really and truly, if I go reporting and they found no skull, they could easily say I'm mad. You understand? So a lot of your students on the East-West corridor who have been missing or gone missing are being murdered right in the school compound. Hear me well. And some of these students are being murdered because if they are bright or good looking, white or sexy black, I've been observing these kids through their free time and whatnot. And if some of these kids, because I've told them, stay by yourself. Don't go talking to anybody to cause trouble. Stay by yourself and read or eat quietly by yourself. One of the same kids said, Miss, I trying to take your advice. He went quietly somewhere by a table and he just sat normal. Clean, crisp, white shirt. Very neat. With a little watch on his hand. And all he did was put his hand on his chin and started to think a little bit. And while he was just thinking a little bit and whatnot, these boys passed and started kicking his foot and all kind of thing. Another student from my class, 2 girls said, Miss, we was just talking just so, and these other girls come and vape in the boy face and just started cough him up. When I looked at the boy, sexy little lad. But look at you. You better learn your schoolwork in my class, eh? Come here, come. Sit down. Time to do work. Because he have swag. Right? They're youths. I just look at them and say, yeah, man, all you go good. All you go good. Learn work, eh? Because you can't mind wife yet. Because they're good looking. Right? And if I'm a teacher and they catch my attention, hey, we're going to tell you what all this, all this is about. Nothing, miss. Just being ourselves. Just being we. All right. Sit. Let's begin. Right? The kids who are like that, natural, God-given beauty, natural, God-given talent, natural, God-given skills, these other children are envying them and beating them up. Attacking them, targeting them. Because they said they will get the jobs because that is who their family are and we wouldn't have none. So we have to cut them down from here. See how those children thinking? And they're only from 2 and 3 children. So if your students, your children are only at the age of 12 and 13 and other students know that you are some manager at some bank or some manager in some company and they know your child will have the recognition because of association to you, these kids are already cutting down them as peers so that they or their parents could get the job instead. Time to change things around here. So you see what I'm saying to you? A lot of companies in this country had a legacy. If we looked at some of these papers, we would see high-colored people, Spanish people as CEO, CFO, big managers. Now, we're only seeing black people. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a proud thing to see black people in power or have power positions. But are they really killing the Vedic people? Are they really killing the Spanish and whites of our country to have their jobs or their children inheritance? Think about it. 21 years ago, this woman did that and she's a head of department today. 21 years is a lot for a criminal element and criminal bodies to put themselves in place in society, yeah? And when you didn't listen to people like me, because for years, Mr. Pandey has been talking about the cabal. I have to call names for people to understand who the cabal is. Because he met me already and told me they were trying to kill him. And he told me, be careful, and he called some names. And he said they will try to use you or get to you through the education system. If that is your work, they will manipulate it. And I can see that. All right? I can see that, where I'm being attacked for knowing my job. Pressured to teach other people when you could go and pay your money and do a degree. All right? Because these people cannot go out there the way we can. And if they do, they have to give the life of one of these students, either literally through sex or by having them murdered. That's the 2 ways for them, because that's what some of these people have been through. All right. So whoever she owes that money for that 3 pounds of drugs all 21 years ago, I don't think that's fully paid for. And again, they've been using these kids to pay off their debts. And we look at our kids and say, oh, you're so hardened. I don't know what I'm going to do with all you. You know why all you blasted go somewhere or just dead? All you waste our time in this house. How many parents talk to their children like that? Or start hitting their children and telling them, all you're dotish. Think. What you are doing is helping these criminal elements. Don't. Just don't. With that being said, have a wonderful night. So if today or tomorrow I ever have to go away, like in Florida or something, you know the truth, so you could never say Mr. Custer withheld information from you, the public, and you made decisions that were not well informed. All right? Make sure when you make decisions that it is well informed.